Welcome to the J&B Body Works podcast. Today we have two of our friends from town here. We have Craig and Glen from Bobo's Cafe. So these guys went to high school with me. Soon after high school, they were working around like the food industry. They decided they were going to open up their own cafe in our town. So you heard about it, and then the next thing you know, it was absolutely everywhere. This thing blew up completely overnight. So here we have them. On the right here, my side is Glenn, and this is Craig by Michael. So how you guys doing today?
Good.
Thanks for joining us, guys.
Thanks for coming by. So the first thing I just want to dive right into is like, where did we get the inspiration for this? Like, whose idea was it, and how did the whole thing come to be?
So I was working at the pizzeria in town, Fratelli's. And at this point, I was in college, kind of, taking a class or two. Glenn was working at Fortina in Armonk. And we were a little bit at a crossroads. So at that point, we were just sitting down one day and we were looking at Taza from Fratelli's, and we were saying, like, we go here every day. We enjoy just getting our time from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. just to sit, hang out. It was
Bullshit a little bit.
Yeah, bullshit. It was a time for me, Glenn, my father, to kind of just sit down and hang out. So one day my dad was there and he was like, I wonder if he's looking to sell it. And of course, at that point, I was like, yeah, sure. Ask, see what's going on. So he literally walked over right then and there, came back, and he was like, if you guys are serious about it, let's do it.
Wow.
Yeah, just like that.
Did you think he was serious?
Yeah, I knew
we knew he was serious.
Yeah,
did you buy the business because there was really you didn't keep any of the branding? I guess there was a couple machines. Like, how did that?
We did, yeah.
Yeah, we bought the business. We bought it from a couple that local family that had actually bought it from the original business.
Okay.
So we bought it from them, and then that's when we kind of were just like, all right, like we grew up, like everything was revolving around food. So we knew food. We didn't know coffee. I don't think I even really drank coffee until we started doing this.
It was the first coffee I ever had.
Yeah.
Wow. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
That wasn't our thing.
Nothing.
So we kind of took it upon ourselves. The store was already operating, so that was fine. It was just kind of like on cruise control at that point. We would wake up super early, and we heard of like different coffee shops. We just started doing a little research, checked out different coffee shops that were notariable in the area. We would go check it out, see what they were doing, what was working for them, and then we would come to the spot, and then just we just formulated our own vibe and energy and what we would want Bobo's to be.
So you guys had it open before the rebranding? Like you were running it as it was?
So yeah, that's what I was going to
Yes.
say. We ran it as Taza for the first, I would say for the first 6 months, we didn't even put a sign that it was Bobo's.
Nothing.
And it was so funny. Like people would come in and be like, what is this place now? And we would say Bobo's, and they would be like, Bobo. And they would kind of give us a weird look, like it was like a bad name for the spot. And I'm like, it made me overthink it a little bit, but it was like, nah.
Yeah, they want us to sit with their tiny espresso cups of
What is
Taza.
Bobo's? Like, what is the name? Like, where did that come from?
Who's Bo? That's what I want to know.
Our grandfather, his name was Paul, but his nickname was Bo, Bobo's, and then we just thought that was a good way to honor him. It was catchy, and that was it. It was to honor him. So we felt like it was a good spot. He used to, because again, that was his nickname when Nike came out with the whole Bo Jackson line, Bo knows. He had all those shirts and stuff like that.
That's
his answering machine, right? Remember at the end he would just be like, Bo knows.
Yeah.
So,
That's sick.
yeah.
That's very cool.
And you guys still, you guys have some merchandise with that tagline on it, so you guys are still able to kind of pay tribute to him a little bit,
Yeah,
which is awesome.
we kind of veered away from it a little bit.
Okay.
So
We had to rebrand because of Nike, because it was
yeah, big
come with
competition.
that big cease and desist.
Yeah.
Big sneaker coming for you.
It's funny when we were
first.
first doing it, I was like, yeah, is that a good idea? And you were like, let's get to a point where it does become a problem.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And there you go.
Yeah, I was like, fair enough.
They don't even know. They don't even know what they're wasting over there.
So now how many stores do you guys have currently?
5.
5.
Yeah.
And all Westchester? Do you have anywhere else?
4 in Westchester, 1's in Ridgefield, Connecticut, so Fairfield County.
And you guys split your time between all of them?
Yeah.
How's that managing? Do you go to every single one every single day?
No. We manage it day by day. I mean, we have certain days that we decide to hunker down in certain stores, but we have meetings with all the stores weekly. So at some point, we're covering all the bases.
That makes sense.
Yeah, the one thing that I always found interesting was I've probably been to like any number one of your locations like at least probably like 100 times, no exaggeration. And every single time I go, I either see one of you guys, your dad, obviously Nikki, who's part of the family.
Yep.
So it's like I find that really refreshing, really interesting because a lot of people when they expand and have all these locations, they're down in Florida. They're hanging out. I don't need to be there. My guy's there. So you guys are still really in it. You're pushing strong. So I love that.
And we try to spread ourselves out. We'll all meet up a lot of the times in one spot and then just kind of venture off.
Disperse.
Yeah.
So you'll have like a morning meeting somewhere.
Yeah, we'll usually meet
Somers.
somewhere. Yeah, usually Somers because we're all centrally located over there. And then who will go over here. We try not to be in the same spot for too long. Just for that reason exactly. So if somebody does come in, it is important that they still see us. So it just meshes with that whole community feel and vibe. We're still very much hands-on and plan to be.
That was like the hardest part too, like because we had that first store for 4 years, and I wouldn't let anyone touch the espresso machine. So like for the first 4 years, like I literally couldn't just sit down and enjoy myself. So like once we decided to open up another store, it just like
You had to.
changed my whole perspective on everything. I'm like, I need to
It's
take a
tough
step
letting
back.
go.
It's so
Delegating is really hard.
Oh, man.
It's better that like this is something we're going to touch on at some point. But it's better. You feel a little bit more comfortable because you have family there. Because it's really hard to trust somebody who's been working for you for 6 months and might just be looking to collect a paycheck. But when your brother's there, you're like, I know that if I really need something, I can count on him. Like he can run the espresso machine. I'm totally confident in your
Once in a while.
When did you guys know that it was time to open up the next one?
I feel like people kept once it attracted a buzz because going into it, our thought was like, all right, let's just not suck. And then once we kind of got our feet underneath us and figured out all right, what is it that we're trying to do here? And that caught on and we started gaining some traction. The other communities kind of let us know where they're like, this would be great here. There's a spot over here that I think you guys would do awesome in.
Oh, really?
Have you guys ever thought about moving, to this location? And we're like, and that kind of put it in the forefront of our minds.
And I would say the first 4 years, I mean, we really didn't get to the point where we wanted to be until that fourth year.
What does that
Really?
mean?
Like what Glen said, just it was all development stage for us at that point.
I think just our brand identity.
Figuring things out.
Yeah, just
Throwing
what
shit
do
at
we
the
want
wall.
to be? Who do we want to be?
What are we
what do we
serving?
want to do? Yeah, exactly that.
And we're still doing that.
Yeah,
I think you have to always do that.
I was going to
You
say, I
do.
don't think that ever stops.
I mean, if somebody told him 2 years ago or 2018 when I started that, a few years after that we'd be doing a whole podcast, he'd be like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
But things change. Times change. You have to kind of move with the times and change the way things work because otherwise, that's one thing that Dad's always done that I really respected about him. He was never afraid of change.
Yeah, it's important.
I mean, he kept his core, the foundation, of what he needed the business to be, right? Like quality, customer service above all things.
everything. Yeah.
But if today we had a guy come in with a new sandpaper. We've been using the same sandpaper forever and he loves it, but he was like, let's try something different.
Yeah.
You guys, how do you make decisions at the stores? Is it collective? Is it?
It's collective. I mean, it's really between me, my brother, my father. Obviously we take some input from some of the guys in the store or ladies in the store. But it's really just us just kind of going back and forth. I mean, we're talking every day. So, if there's a situation or a problem or something new, I mean, it's always on the forefront of our brain. And, it kind of goes into brothers and business, as soon as the store closes at 4 p.m., I mean, that's not it. We're hanging out at night.
That's far from it.
We're going to dinner. It's coming up,
Right.
So
It has to.
Do you guys deal with a lot of disasters or all of a sudden you're this broke and now we're here
all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. It's, because now even with, because you were talking about you can't be afraid of change, anticipatory thinking. I feel like a lot of that comes into technology and new things and stuff like that. But it also makes us very dependent on certain things. So if something goes down, it's an absolute crapshoot, and it's just like, you know, you're just trying to tread water to stay afloat.
Especially the espresso machine, right? If that thing goes down, it's a disaster, right?
That's like number one.
Yeah.
That being-
I don't
that
think
being
people
perhaps the best.
understand, like the average coffee drinker who goes into a Starbucks or whatever, doesn't realize those machines are fucking expensive.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
And the machine that we have in that store right now, all the stores are now, is like the Ferrari of espresso machines.
Are those all automatic?
They're all automatic.
Do they have like their own like grinder like per each serving? Is that
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. They all have their own grinder. Like, it's all like modular, right? So it's like 3 things in one. So,
But it's not reliable, and there's a very limited amount of people that can fix it.
It's like a
they
Ferrari. It's literally like a Ferrari.
So if, like, you know, we have people, we're open 7 days a week. So you come in 7:30 in the morning, like, I want my espresso. I don't care that your stupid fancy machine doesn't work. I want my coffee.
it wasn't running
and
on
like,
all
I don't.
cylinders on the car show that we did on Sunday.
Really?
It was
We were
stressing
talking
me
about
out.
that.
I was
And
like,
you're just
He's
like,
like, yo,
stressing all of a
he's
sudden,
like, it
you're
doesn't
like-
have a crema, and it,
yeah. And one of the customers was like, "Oh, maybe like move," trying to tell me how to like pour it. I'm like,
Shut the fuck up, guy.
I'm like,
Get the fuck out of here, Rich.
I got it.
Take your acai bowl and get the fuck out.
Stick to whatever the fuck it is you do. Are you like the nerd, like the machine nerd and coffee nerd?
Oh, absolutely.
More so than him?
Yeah, I guess I would
yeah.
say so. Just because I spent, like I said, I like literally wouldn't.
That
want
was
anyone
Craig's
to
baby. That
touch
was his
it.
corner.
So,
Who makes the machine?
Eversys,
Where's that from?
Switzerland.
Okay.
Switzerland.
Good people to make stuff.
Yeah, I mean they're amazing when they work. It is like
When they work.
yeah, when they work, it is the best. You know, but I mean it's like
we switched over though, because as we started opening, I mean, and this correlates to, you know, think of like manual versus now the automatic, and it's paddle shifters. It's more efficient. It's the same thing, but there was almost like a taboo that like we weren't doing it the
Less
old
control.
school way, where it's like, all right, that's not real. You're pushing a button. It's not the same thing.
The purists.
Yes. So it was a big thing when we transferred over, but
You could never do the volume that you're doing now.
the whole idea about it is just hiring people with personality, where it's not so intricate, where like I know some coffee shops, like I said, when we first like started venturing out to see what people were doing, like you had to do 3 months of training before you even touched the machine. Yeah. We can't, like with high turnover rates in that industry.
yeah, could you imagine?
We can't invest that much time just to get somebody to say like, all right, hey, I'm out.
Our guys get like a few days. You come in, you listen to what you're supposed to do on a panel. If you can't figure it out, like we don't have time and money to waste. What'd you say, 3 months?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
That's
It's
insane.
crazy. Machine.
It's crazy.
It's like-
Because there's a lot that, like, with those other machines, it's the grind size. It changes with the weather, so you got to dial back in again. You're
Wow.
weighing it
Sounds like our
out.
pain
You got to
booths.
make sure
Yeah.
it's clean.
Yeah.
You put it in the right way. The water pressure.
So
is
what
gotta
makes
so
a
many-
good cup of coffee?
There's so many moving variables. You know, that's
Someone who's going crazy to get it all right. I'm sure that's what it comes down to.
it
There's
is,
a lot
and-
of variables that could change.
And it's funny because like you think like if you're doing coffee, and you know this isn't a knock to anyone, but like it's hard to find a good cup of coffee unless like you're fully invested in the coffee. So for us, I mean, sourcing the beans is like probably the biggest, I would say, right?
Where do you guys get your beans from?
Path Coffee. They're in Portchester and great. So we've been using them for about like 6-7 years now.
Yeah.
That, and then I guess I would say it's really the machines. I mean, if you're going manual, it's different because then you just need someone who's like very dialed in.
Tuned in.
But, you know, now you have these machines which, you know, allowed me to take a step back and feel comfortable letting someone make it the same way I would have made it.
What's the mix up like? Is it way more coffee than espresso based drinks? Is it more?
What's a hot seller?
cold brew and chai.
Yeah, cold brew chai, but iced lattes, really like all the coffee kind of like.
Drinks more than food?
No, everything's
They're all pretty equal.
Yeah.
like a
They're all pretty
third, like
equal.
we're at like a third beverage, a third acai bowl smoothies, and a
Really?
third food.
I always figured like the coffee, like I'm sure it doesn't go bad as quickly as like, you know, whatever, a croissant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's always like a big benefit. Plus I'm sure the margin's pretty big, but I guess it kind of all comes down to volume.
Well, that was also a lot of it came back to like, all right, when we first started, we kept the same menu. Then we started introducing our own new ideas. Then it's like, all right, what are people actually gravitating towards and what are we wasting our time on? And that's how we it started off, we had the original menu of the previous owners. Then it was 2 scrolls that we would handwrite on and change it once a week. It was food and drinks. So it was like 3 items each one, so like 6 items altogether. We were super minimalistic. And then it just started to develop after that. The kitchen.
So you started out the gate with food.
Yeah.
Okay.
With a huge, extensive menu, and then we just like nixed a lot.
It was
of
all like pre-made stuff though. It
Yeah.
wasn't nothing fresh, nothing
Kind of like heat up. type
There
of
was
stuff.
no grill in the back.
We were microwaving
There was-
eggs.
The eggs were microwaved. It was,
Yeah.
it was insane.
And the microwave was like, you know, higher than we were. So like we had to like balance egg yolks in a plate to get it.
That's
to the
wild.
Top. It was nuts.
You probably make some great microwave eggs though.
Yeah.
I remember
he's the Iron Chef of the
comes
microwave.
running back, and I'm in the kitchen, and he goes, "Dude," he goes, "Someone just ordered an omelet." And I'm like, "Oh man!" I'm looking around, and I see this like microwave safe, like just square container. Crack some eggs in, whisked it up, and then it like comes out of the microwave, and then I just like folded it over, and we looked at it.
We
We're
both
like,
looked at it like,
I'd eat that.
yeah, it looks good. And then we served it. So, and then once we got our first, we had like a little 2-foot like grill, like a little electric griddle.
Dad
And
brought from the house.
yeah, my dad brought from the house, and he'd be sitting down playing cards or just bullshitting with somebody. Someone would order an egg sandwich, and we're like, and then we'd like run up, someone ordered an egg sandwich.
Attack
He's like,
mode. Yeah.
And he loved it. He'd be like, "What? Gotta go." And he'd go back there. He'd make like a ham, egg, and cheese. I remember
fold.
the first one.
Yeah.
The first ham, egg, and cheese he ever made. And I was like, wow.
we were so
real
excited
eggs.
to watch real eggs go out. It was like revolutionary.
That was like the game changer, I would say.
Is it a nightmare to get like a full kitchen into like one of these spots, like health department, like building department?
Yeah, there's a ton of variables. And it's, you know, it's funny you say that because and we could touch upon the group that we're using now.
Yeah.
For us to expand that back of house kitchen flow optimization is everything.
I'm
And
sure.
we didn't really realize it that much until now, where we're looking to continue opening up stores. But I mean, it really. Have you seen The Founder on McDonald's?
Oh yeah.
Where they
yeah.
chalkboard the basketball court
Yep.
and it's like steps and
seen that.
movement. Like that's how we have to think now.
I'll tell you, one of the most interesting compliments. You guys got a ton of compliments, by the way. We had a Cars and Coffee this past Sunday, which we're going to be doing a lot more of. So please check in on our social media for that. But you guys crushed it. And one of the coolest compliments that I thought got was someone said, even though you guys seemed like person-wise, like people coming to the store, it was overwhelming. You guys
Yeah,
didn't
stuff was
skip
in
a
and out.
beat. Like
Yeah.
coffee was coming out when it was supposed to, food was coming out when it was supposed to. Like that is like fucking so impressive.
Yeah.
Because I was panicking myself in there. And then at one point I came in, I was like, I just tapped in the back. I was like, I'm gonna go and grab a coffee. And you're like, come with me. And I was like, please don't like go grab a coffee. Like this, there's too much going on. And you were like, coffee, here you go, enjoy it.
But what were you saying? So you have like someone that's kind of helping you guys blueprint.
Yeah, there's groups out there that come in and will literally sit in your kitchen and, you know, with a stopwatch.
Really?
And, like time, like food going out, how many steps you're taking. I mean, and they do a deeper analysis on like the equipment. And, you know, we're involved so much in the business right now. We're not, you know, out seeking new equipment that often. But like these guys are like leaders in the game where they know like this is new, this will work, this will
will make your life a
you
lot
know,
easier.
your omelet time in half. Like those are like big things for us now. It's like just turnover, you know.
'Cause
Whereas we see like like maybe 15 minutes for your food. Like it's still like kind of teeter tottering for what we're doing. You know, we're like fast casual. We're not like a full service diner. Where if like you sit down like 20 minutes for your food, cool. But if like you order it and now you're just standing there waiting, it's like,
It's a long time.
you know, let's go.
Do you do the same thing? Like if you want to open up a new store, do you have like are you kind of like doing like an economy study or like making sure like the locations, like, cause not for nothing, like you guys made a lot happen with like, no offense, like not the best location in Heritage Hills. Like it's kind of out of the way. It's kind of caters just to Somers. Like, I mean, obviously the parking's fantastic and that's a huge plus.
Yeah.
But like, so I grew up in Somers, obviously, and my life was kind of revolving around Somers. And then, you know, between going to school, you know, in New York and the Bronx, and then like working down here, I know a lot of people all throughout the county. And I'll follow someone from Scarsdale, Eastchester, the Bronx, going up to Bobo's, and it's like, why are they going to Somers? Like, you know what I mean? So like, when you get a new spot, I mean, obviously you have your name and everything. Is there like a lot of research into this spot? Like, how does all that work?
Yeah. And to I would say the Somers location is probably the most difficult location. Like, it's not like the most ideal spot.
Yeah.
If that wasn't our first spot, it probably wouldn't have been as successful as it is. And like I said, just for us being there for 4 years, I think that's kind of what got that buzz going. And then moving forward, we got a little more strategic, right? We started looking at car counts, how big the schools were in the area. You know, all the towns that we're in are
Foot traffic.
so community based. So that's really what we've been looking.
I feel like you guys are the only thing in Chappaqua.
Yeah, Chappaqua
It's like a
is
real bedroom community.
Yeah,
Like,
and it's funny because if you're not going to Chappaqua specifically, like, there's no reason to go to Chappaqua.
Yeah.
So
if you don't live there, there's nothing there.
exactly. So
That kind of fell on our laps too. We had signed the lease for the Route 6 location before we even did Chappaqua. So kind of backtracking a little bit, when we had the one store for 4 years, we started looking around, and we found the Route 6 location, signed the lease. We're like, all right, this was a complete build out. Let's do it. We're ready to expand. And then we were dealing with different realtors, and one of the realtors came to us after we signed the lease. They're like, listen, I know you were looking. The train station came available. You guys, would you be interested in that? And we're like, fuck yeah, like that's a great spot. It's like
also
one of the
gorgeous.
busiest train stations
Yeah, it is beautiful.
on the East Coast. And we're like, let's do it. And we ended up going in there first while we were building out this other one. And then the same thing kind of like happened with Ridgefield, where someone
Really?
came to us with like a good deal, and we were just, we're like, all right, yeah, let's do it. And then that's when we did the fourth one. That's when we were kind of like, all right, shit, like we need to like look at this from a different.
Ridgefield was the fourth.
Ridgefield was the fourth, and then that's where we started, like, kind of where our thinking is now as far as optimization, workflow, different back of house like structures, and nothing that we thought about when we opened the first store. It wasn't even on our mind for expansion like this, and just setting up certain building blocks for us to keep expanding and going forward. So a lot of what we've been doing the last couple years is trying to set up that foundation for that trajectory to keep moving forward. Yeah. Because the fourth one, we're like, all right, this is too much. Like,
and not to mention Ridgefield and Route 6, Mayapack, we call it, both opened up during COVID.
Yeah, that's always
Between March and
wild.
December 2020.
How long were you guys sidelined for that?
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Really?
Don't get me wrong. COVID,
Three. We had a solid 3.
I think we might have just added
felt
an
that
extra
week.
week.
Yeah.
It was at
Yeah,
a
shit
point.
going on, yeah.
Florida, anybody?
Because I was living right down the road from the Route 6 one, I would wake up at like noon, and I would walk down to the store and literally just like I was grocery shopping, just get like eggs, a couple coffees, bacon. It was just like loading up, going back to the house and just like eating these meals. And it was just, it was a crazy time, but
We made the best of it.
we made the best of it. And I feel like, just, it was just because, and you guys too, like it's always go,
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
That we really got to
like that.
appreciate.
You wake up and it's like boom, boom, boom. Like it's like run, like
Yeah, we just
until you get back to the house, your head's like zzz.
Yeah. So we appreciated our time, spending our time together, and just kind of like chilling out, hanging out, talking, and just enjoying that peace.
Until after 2 weeks, I looked at like the reports. And I was just like 0, just across the board. And I was like, shit, okay.
Yeah.
Now what? We enjoyed the time off, but like,
Your little
back to
fantasy
reality.
vacation.
Yeah.
Have you guys seem to have an amazing relationship between you guys? Has it always been like that? Were there times, because I know like for us, there were times.
What's the age difference between you guys?
4 years.
Same with us.
Yeah.
I always thought
It
was
is
5,
4
but I
years?
think
Yeah,
it's
so
4.
I'm
4 and a
28.
half.
He's 31.
There was that like time period where, we fought a lot.
Yeah.
Probably.
I feel like a lot of it when he was like 8, because like Craig will have a temper. And
Really?
Yeah. So
Did have it.
Craig
I've
has
done a lot of work on that.
and Craig
That would
has
be
a temper. And that was, like he was 8, I was 12, and I remember we were on like vacation one time, and I'm like telling my dad, I was like, he's got to chill out. Like, he's not,
I'm gonna knock him
I
out.
was like, I'm gonna hit him. I was like, he's like antagonizing me. I was like, he needs to chill out. And he's like, all right. And then like a day goes by and like we're still away, and he does something in front of my dad, and I'm like, I look at my dad. He's like, all right, go.
Yeah, I remember that.
And he just lets me wail on him for like a good.
I needed a good ass kicking. You know?
And he's like, all right, enough. He's
throw it
like,
back.
he's bigger than you. He's like, so just remember that.
Yeah.
But after that, like, I mean, that's
once you went to college. I would say
Yeah.
things changed. And then,
Yeah.
And then, you know, going into working together, I guess we didn't think about that. And I guess we didn't fight too much in the first 4. So, I mean, it definitely helps that, you know, we expanded and now we're not on top of each other like every day. Like, we,
Yeah.
you know, we're split up.
Yeah.
But for the most part, we did a pretty good job of, you know, staying cool.
Yeah, but as a collective, just our family, we would just argue about like stupid shit with the business, where it's like, you know, we're literally like screaming at the top of our lungs because we don't like where the table placement is.
Yeah.
And it's like, why'd you put that shelf there? Like, that's not where I wanted it to go. And we were doing construction at the Somer store. This is before we expanded, and my dad took it upon himself to start like moving shit around, and I came in and I was like. Like, I freaked out just because of where, like, just something so stupid.
Put a shelf up.
He put a shelf up. And and we're in there yelling at each other, and the shelf had old bottles, glass bottles of the coffee syrup. And in the middle of the argument, the shelf falls, hits him.
Hits your dad?
Hits
him right
him,
in the head.
hits him in the head. All the bottles break everywhere. And we all just kind of like looked at each other. He was fine, thank God. And we just cleaned up in silence for like 2 hours. Nobody
Didn't say a word.
Nobody said a word. And
You couldn't see the floor. It was just sauce
Really?
and syrup.
yeah.
Yeah, we
still
literally just
stinks.
What
didn't-
syrups? Like the vanilla?
Yeah, like all those like
Okay,
just
yeah,
sugary
yeah, yeah.
syrups
Who
and the
makes those?
sauces.
Moaning.
Okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I think what's interesting about our kind of dynamic is Joseph came into a monster. Like, what year did you start?
Like
the shop?
first, like before you.
Yeah,
Yeah, I came into
a monster.
yeah, so it was a lot more of a stressful situation, like with what I actually do and like the way I had to learn. So like we had someone doing my job for about like 15 years who we had to let go suddenly because he was like getting violent and like he like
time
threatened to
mental
punch
issues.
someone. My dad was like, all right, you're out. So I was gonna do something completely different in the business, and then I started my first day. My dad gave me one day off. I had a Thursday off, and I started on Friday, and then I just kept going. I just had to like kind of learn on the job, and it was like a lot more responsibility, a lot more stress, and I think that Michael had to deal with. So it was just very different getting into it. I think dealing with my dad in the beginning was probably a little more stressful than, you know, Michael kind of had the ability to ease in, and you know there was a lot of people doing what Michael was doing when he kind of first started. So yeah, I think it definitely created a different impact. I mean, the dynamic is a little different because I think the business is kind of like you guys started it, right? I mean, obviously your dad was involved, but it's like really your business. I mean, obviously dad's always dad and he's got prior, you know, experience doing this stuff. It was a different dynamic because this was here. I mean, we're doing our 42nd year now, right? So I started in 14. So I started 10 years ago. Okay. So we're here for 32 years. When I walk in,
10 years. That's crazy.
it's 10 years and it feels like that. Yeah.
Is this something you guys always knew? Like, this is what
yes.
I'm going to be doing?
I always thought, you know, it's fucked up. I always felt like I had this parachute if I wanted to try something else. But then again, I left senior year of, so I always loved cars. So I always thought about it.
Yeah.
But the dynamic that we have at home, I think it's probably similar to what you guys experience. The Italian American household is very patriarchal. So dad is the king ding-a-ling, and it's like whatever he says goes. So I was a little bit wary of that. But when I left college my senior year, he picked me up, I think, very similar story to him on a Thursday. And he was like, I'm really proud of you. You did great. I was like, yeah, you know, blah, blah, blah. He was like, you have till Monday. I was like, Monday to what? He was like, it's till Monday to get the fuck to work. So I had a very similar
He's like,
situation.
you could do something else, but like you got to have a job. You have a job here if you want it, but you're not sitting at home like fucking around playing video games. Like
The thing too is like for us, I constantly fear not only just it's your family business. So like you're worried about your family, but also my dad built a reputation. He's got an incredible reputation. So anything that I do is a direct reflection onto him. So we try at all times to think about that because you don't want to.
Yeah, I mean, how many times you hear the story about the son who gets the business, just like fucks it all up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you don't want to be that guy. And obviously you want to, if you're a prideful person, if you like what you do, you want to be good at what you do. You want people to respect you, and you want to, you want to give someone their keys back and be like, this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. Like, the car looks better than new. So, I mean, you want to put, like you guys said, you want to not suck. Above all else.
And once you get past that point of, I don't want to suck, I feel like it's obvious that you guys have the same feeling. You want to be good. Like, you want to be really fucking good.
Well, that makes all the difference, right? I mean, just like going in with that mentality of just like, don't screw this up.
But you guys, like I was saying before, like you guys had it to where, you heard about you guys opening up a spot, and then you get there and you're like, oh my God, this place is packed. So like, I mean, how was there a fear of like, will this work? Or you kind of like, it just exploded?
Yes. I'll never forget, like a Saturday, we were sitting down brainstorming, and my mom walked in, and she sat down, and she was like, what's going on? Like, where's everyone? What are you guys doing? Right? Remember that? And I was like, thanks for the encouragement, but
Shut up, Mom.
it's just like, I guess, like I said, like the first like 6 months, it was just like, don't pay attention to those things. We got a little better every week, right? Like we didn't decline from what was there, right? So for us, that was a win. And then, I think just that next spring, summer, it just started getting busier. I have like pictures on my camera roll of like, 5 people sitting down, then 10 people sitting down, and then just like packed. And it was just like a really cool feeling.
For us, and I had a conversation with somebody about pizza shops the other day. There's a body shop on every corner, and realistically, it's very similar to coffee shops. So what do you guys do to differentiate yourselves from every other cafe out there? Or what do you think is different about Bobo's?
It's like how diversified we became, right? As far as like coffee shop, because I wouldn't even like constitute us as a coffee shop.
Cafe.
Like a cafe, right?
Can't
At
say
first it was
restaurant,
like
but it's a cafe.
coffee shop,
Yeah.
and at first like
not a deli.
At first, coffee shop is what we wanted to be. We
want to be minimalistic,
clean,
like New York City,
latte art.
Yeah.
It's so
Craig's
funny.
got the flannel on.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I grew my hair out. Yeah, it was a whole
I
thing.
don't-
It got to a point, right, where Dad was like, "You guys are like gonna do more, right? Like you're not." That's where we would fight, and that's where he was right.
That's where well, to a certain extent, because like we'd be doing something. It was kind of like the sausage and pepper story you guys were talking about, where it's like, we should do burgers. Well, we're like, what? Like where did that come from? Like, and I remember we
conflict with the coffee smell,
but it goes back to where like there is something for everybody. But on top of that, I mean, even if you have a great product, and you guys know, like that's half the battle. It's you guys. It's how you interact. It's how we interact with our customers, because it doesn't feel like work. It's people coming in that we're looking forward to seeing, to talking to catching up, and then everything else is just like an added bonus. All right, the coffee and the food is good too. Great.
Yeah.
But it's like
Come for the boys, stay for the food and coffee.
Yeah. I think that's what a lot of it was in the beginning too. It's like everyone was kind of like supporting and like just checking it out and like.
Well, I think that aided a lot to that location's success too, because we were from that town. So and we were still at that age where
100%.
everyone was still there. There's really like
more of the
You guys
stress.
say cool shit like the acai bowls just like looked cool online. Like I liked how you guys used always the movie quotes like on Instagram. Like that stuff was really cool and like
Nick and I were in Florida, and we went into like a smoothie bowl place. It was like the first time I ever like really went into a store that did it. Packed, right?
Really?
It was just like young, hip. They had
Where was
cool
this?
Music. It was in Boca. It was raw juice.
Okay.
And I called Glen immediately. I was like, dude, we got to do whatever they're doing here. And sure enough, like as soon as I got back, we sat down, we started messing around with it, and we were just like giving them away. And that just like drew in another demographic.
Well, because at that point, Heritage Hills is known to be an older community, so we had a lot of that older community in there. So once we started doing shit like pitaya and like acai bowls, people are like, what the fuck is this? Like, yo, it's free, it's good, just eat it. It's antioxidant.
Yeah, I'm just picturing like old people with dentures trying to eat.
I think the first bowl I gave to, this guy was like 85. The first guy I gave it to, and he was just like slowly eating. I was like, how was it? He was like,
We're like, all right. And then people started coming in and like asking for it. We're like, oh shit, you know. So and then that got us notoriety with a younger demographic.
Yeah.
And then that's where it kind of came like full circle. And we always like said like, because like a lot of it is, again, we get, you know, all like the full range of, you know, people from people come in with their babies, you know, middle school kids, and then you have like senior citizens in the elderly community, and that our menu kind of like encompasses that.
There was
too,
always there was a spot in
Sorry, but
there was a spot in Somers. There's another spot in our town that was like the spot where like after high school, like everyone was going there. They were getting food. So like I went to college, you know, I wasn't around as much. And then I was living in the city, and then like I knew you guys had opened up, and I went maybe once or twice. So then I came home and I went to the other spot. I'm like, yo, where'd everyone go? And like it was good. It was all right. The guys were kind of like miserable. The place was always
Filthy.
dirty and disgusting. And you go in your place and like that kind of I'm sure is like a big impact from your dad. It was spotless, clean. You had
you
the
actually
hats.
wanted to
Everything was
hang
fun
out too.
Yeah.
You didn't want to hang out in the other spot. Like I go to
Yeah.
your spot, and I'm like, I could sit and chill. And you know, it has that like, especially that table that's like the cable.
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like that to me,
Love that
it
table.
speaks to like our culture, the Italian
Yeah,
culture,
yeah, yeah.
hanging out like a bunch of
Round
dudes
table.
who might be a little bit overweight, like with pink earrings and
Rough around the
coffee.
edges.
Like,
Yeah,
I love
yeah,
that
yeah.
shit, and that makes me feel
Yeah.
like that. And you know,
Your
I
dad's
want
always holding court, you know?
One of
Yeah.
our uncles started playing cards, and my dad was like, no. Yeah, maybe it's a little too much now. He's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
Uncle
people started
Tony,
making
he's-
comments, yeah, and we're like, what? We're like, we're playing
stop.
rummy. Like, what's the problem?
Yeah, we were getting like, we were starting
they're
to play.
playing
and he was
CeeLo.
like-
Yeah, we're like, I don't understand what the issue is, but
Until the eggs come out.
Yeah.
It's time to make them eggs.
But no, that's like, and even coming back to us, like, because if you guys were in there, right, and we're talking with you, but then all of a sudden you see someone else that you know that we might not know,
Right,
But then
you
you
pull
guys
them
make that.
in.
I love that. Like,
Yeah.
I
The
The
love
amount of
that. Like,
connections
it's
that
so
we made
huge,
through
man.
the store.
it is awesome. It is awesome, and just being able to kind of. Again, all comes back to community, being able to maybe help somebody else because
100%.
now I know somebody, like I'm talking to you about a specific problem, but now I know somebody that might be able to assist you
Right.
and help you with something else, and just having that interaction being made.
I'm sure everywhere you guys go to, you just see someone that you know, or like you kind of have a guy for everything now, just because you're
Yeah.
like so entrenched in so many different networks.
Yep.
And that's always cool.
Yeah, a couple years ago we had this conversation because I didn't realize the potential behind networking until I came here, and now even more with the social media stuff. I always used to look at social media as just the vein of our existence. It's terrible, but I really do think that if you use it for its intended purpose, which is just to connect with people,
Yeah.
it's massive.
Yeah.
And I didn't really understand that potential when I first came in. Like, you'd be like, you got to come outside and meet this guy, and I'd be like, fuck, I'm doing some other thing. I don't want to do it. But then you realize you have no idea what you can add value to another person's life and what they can add to yours just in a simple interaction. I think it's so huge.
That's such a fulfilling feeling too, knowing that you've benefited somebody else that does not benefit you at all in a positive way, and that's like it really is. It's special.
It's also cool. I mean, this is kind of the shitty way of saying it, but it's cool being the guy who has a guy. And I think I was never that person. It was always him and my father. And I got married, and my in-laws, my father-in-law will call me and be like, you got a fence guy? I'm like, yo, we got a fence guy? Yeah, we got a fence guy.
Yeah,
I
we
got a fence guy, no problem.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's so funny. You know who said that? Japheth said it the other day. He was like, I'm at the point now. He was like, I don't want to have a guy. He was like, I want to be friends with you who has the guy.
Yeah.
He was like, that's it. He was like, I'm done with that. He was like, I'm done, meet new people.
I
do
don't want
that.
to walk
He
on
was
the
like,
plane and have to say hi to 10 people that I
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
I'm
That's-
trying to
that's
get out
like,
of
He's like,
here.
I want to be friends with the guy who has the guy.
That's that Bill
That's where we
Burr
are
skit
now,
where
yeah.
he's like, I don't want a boat. I want to be friends with
With
the
the
guy
guy.
that has the boat.
Yeah,
yeah,
Walking on with a
exactly.
six pack, giving everyone high fives.
Yes.
Get a curse.
he's like,
Get a curse.
He's like, that's what I want. So
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. What do you think is the next thing? Like, not just another store, or is it just another store? But what do you think is the next stage for Bobo's?
I always think about that because in the beginning, a lot of it was, all right, what do we want this place to be for our own selfish reasons? Like what? Because again, like I said, we're big foodies. So like, what would we enjoy here? What's the next big wave? It was pitaya bowls. Then it was like, all right, we did avocado toast. Then it's just like good quality like food and coffee. For my own like thoughts on this is kind of just turning it into a brand where it's not just known, like where we could venture off into other things, and that name. I mean, it's kind of like it's like Apple or any of these other companies where no matter what they do, you have a comfort level with that brand because we've talked about this, their why they do things is so strong that you'll buy anything from them, even if it has nothing to do with electronics.
Right. Danny Myers is a good reference to that.
Danny Myers. I think that's where, like, besides just opening another location or if we did a food truck or whatever.
This weekend we went up there and someone was like, "Oh, like this sandwich looks good. Have you had it?" I'm like, "No, just get it. Like it's gonna be good. Like everything here is good. Like they know what they're doing."
That being said, try the number one. It's the best fucking
I
sandwich.
like the hot chick.
Yeah,
hot chick is good.
Awesome.
That's
both of
sauce
those. You
is-
just
that creamy sriracha. I mean, just chef's kiss on that.
One of the delivery drivers for a restaurant next door to us, it was the Chinese restaurant at the time in the shopping center. One of their delivery drivers came in. He's like, it'd be really good. He's like, this is dressing. He's like, it's creamy sriracha. He's like, mixed ranch and
whatever
sriracha.
at the time, but then
That's what it was. That's not what it is anymore. But he's like, just mixed ranch and sriracha, and we're like, okay. So we just did equal parts ranch and sriracha.
Who's coming up with all the recipes?
We have one of our buddies that he went to middle school with, came on board with us about 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And again, it's like we'll sit down like this. We'll talk about like what we've had somewhere else, what would be good, and then those ideas will only get us so far until somebody actually executes it for us. And
it was like perfect timing with him too. Like he went to culinary school and I reached out to him. He was like, "Nah, sorry, bud." He was like, "I'm
Does
going
his
to
name
work."
rhyme with Brio?
No. It's Nick. Okay. No. Are you thinking Gio? Yeah. No. It's not we've spitballed ideas with Gio though before. Absolutely. Yeah. I love talking food with him. He's like one guy that I can talk to that I feel like I'm talking to Glen. Like we just like, but obviously he has just like a plethora of knowledge.
Yeah,
on how
he's
to
a food nerd. He's a food
execute.
He's for real. Yeah.
But like, I mean, I went down to the city with him the other day for an hour, and we literally just talked about food, and I was like in heaven. I was like, this is awesome. But no, so our chef Nick, another Nick, he went to culinary school, and he wasn't available at the time. I reached back out to him like 6 months later. I was like, dude, you know anyone? He was like, honestly, he was like, I'm available. Came in, I'll tell this story. This was great, and.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm just like, getting excited. I'm telling Irma, who's still with us in the Somers location, I'm like, oh, there he is. He's walking in. Like this guy, like he's walking in with a chef's coat. I'm like, this is awesome. Goes back into the kitchen. We get a sausage, egg, and cheese. And he just like walks over, grabs like the sausage patty and just flings it. And it just like lands on perfectly lands on the griddle. And I was like, oh. Bro,
this is our guy.
I was like, this is him. I was like, just swag. Like, he just went back there, just
You're like, all right,
whipped it up. I was like, dude, I'm like,
done.
Yeah. He loves telling that story too. So then, just like ever since then, I mean, we just talk food, and
really
he just
funny.
executes it. And Big Nick is the taste tester too. We give everything for the first like 3 years. Nick was just in there. He's like, "What do we got?" And we were making meat
because he wasn't working with us at that time.
He's like, they don't call me
but he
Big
was
Nick for nothing.
Yeah, he wasn't with us. He would
love
stop
him.
in. He would stop in the morning. He
was always there.
and just try whatever we were like,
willing to putting
out. Together. And I remember we did a bacon, egg, cream cheese, and Nutella. On a bagel.
Whoa.
And it actually was like really good.
Wow.
It was really good. We never did
we
it.
did for like a week, and people just looked at us like we were
You know what it was? I think we went to Fratelli's.
We went to Fratelli's.
And we got a bacon, egg, and cheese pizza. And we got the Nutella pizza. And we just sandwiched it together.
Yeah, we made a sandwich.
Dude, the
like,
McGriddle. People love the McGriddle, and that's kind of similar, right? You got savory, you got sweet.
Yeah.
It's all right there.
And I was like, this is awesome. And then Nick loved it. And then I guess just the customers, it was too advanced. They weren't ready for it.
Understand.
It's a certain type of palate.
Dealing with idiots.
So if you guys aren't eating at Bobo's in Westchester and New York, where are you guys eating?
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one. Jeez. I'm going to go Westport.
Yeah.
We go to Westport.
Colony is the
Colony.
best.
Did you know that we were going to say that?
That's the Welk.
Dude,
I love Colony.
Colony, the Welk, and Don
Mimo.
Mimo's now. It used to be Jessup Hall.
Jessup Hall is
Those were,
phenomenal, too.
the
I've been
best
telling about
restaurants.
Colony for so long.
Have you been? You've been?
No, the Welk.
You haven't been?
No.
Have you had the bone marrow at Colony? They have this bone marrow. They scrape it out onto toast. I'm a huge Japanese. Like I somehow convinced my wife to go to Japan for our honeymoon. I've been there before.
Oh, really?
I'm a massive nerd, dude. I'm obsessed.
We were
with
just
cartoons.
talking. I want to do.
It's amazing, dude.
Enjoy that. I would never.
So when I told him, I was like, I got this great Japanese spot. He's like, dude, get out of here with this Japanese food shit. Like, get out of here.
No,
but
it's
anything that guy
phenomenal.
does.
Kawane. We had a sandwich on our menu called kawane.
Really?
Yeah, because
Yeah,
of him, the banh mi. Have you had the banh
Oh
mi
my
there?
god, that banh mi is
insane.
Shaved
insane.
broccoli.
It's insane.
My wife and I go there all the time. It's like our little hidden gem because we just sit at the bar and
If we're going to dinner, that's where we're going.
It's a little too much. I don't fuck around.
Yeah, I
Dude,
love
no,
Italian. Don't get me
Westport is
wrong, I
amazing.
love
They
Italian.
got a great food scene. They do.
Where do you go for Italian food?
Man.
We really don't. The girls make macaroni and meatballs on Sundays.
Nice.
But like if
dream.
we're away somewhere, we'll throw an Italian restaurant into the mix.
Are you guys a
Okay.
sauce family or a gravy family? What do you call it? Gravy or sauce? Sunday sauce, Sunday gravy.
Grandma said gravy.
Yeah.
Cause like she
That's
always-
what we grew up
that's what
with,
we
and
are.
then I
We're gravy
started to
people.
like, you know,
Cause it
think
was,
about it. But
there was sausage.
if she
there was
said gravy,
brajol,
it's
there was
gravy.
like a whole like
Plethora,
mix
yeah.
in that pot. That's just what it is. I feel like that's
We
not
grew up
the.
with gravy, and people be like, "Oh, you're not Italian. Get the fuck out of here."
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Oh, you're born in Italy. You're born in fucking York. Get over yourself.
Christian said that the other day. Petroni, you know Christian Petroni? He
from
was
Instagram, I've
like a
seen him,
celebrity
yeah.
guy
Yeah, yeah.
from Westchester. Well, he's from the Bronx.
yeah.
But I was listening to him talk about the other day because some lady said that. And he was like, "Who gives a fuck?" He was
Yeah.
like, "If your grandma called it gravy, it's gravy. If she calls it sauce, it's sauce." He was
Yeah.
like,
It is what it
That's
is.
it.
Call it pasta, call it macaroni. Like we're not. What is this?
Yeah.
Fine dine? What are you an
This is
aristocrat?
America.
My
You say
favorite
whatever
line
the
of
fuck you
Goodfellas. He's
want.
like, "Oh, I'll have my steak medium rare." He's like, "What are you, a fucking aristocrat?" Like,
Yeah, but Italian's
somewhere.
tough. Italian's tough. Gio makes great sauce.
Yeah.
does.
And that's so funny. When I
Dolphin
talked
sauce
about,
is
he was
good.
like,
Father's
he was
sauce I
like,
love. It's very sweet.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
he called himself a sauceteer. That's the first time I heard it, and I was like, yeah, you are.
That's
My dad calls the pizza guys pizza mechanics, and I really like.
Yeah.
I always enjoyed that. And he often says sandwich mechanic, which I like too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
The two spots that we've been going to lately, which I kind of want to plug because I'm such big fans of them. Besides the Blue Dolphin, which I think is absolute top tier,
Top
Dolphin
five, stay
salad.
alive.
But the Da Giorgio in New Rochelle is incredible.
Yeah,
if you guys
very,
haven't
very
been there,
good.
the
Oh,
food
haven't
is
been there. It's
amazing.
great.
Really? Gem, some of the best Italian. And then we went to a place called ODO.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Very
Love
good.
it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's like real
Love
good
it.
stuff. That's
There-
really good.
That's
It
where
is
our
phenomenal.
grandmother's from in Italy. And it was
Abruzzi?
like, yeah.
That's where we're from too.
Really? And it
Yeah.
was like the closest thing to her cooking. I was like,
really
I
was.
haven't seen this. They were doing like escarole pies, and I'm like, who does
Yeah.
this?
Yeah, that's what
I'm
I love
like-
about it.
They got
I
delicious
just went.
food.
I just
They got
went there.
delicious.
I'll tell you, the Giorgio, I really don't get meatballs out of the house, and I got a meatball there, and I was like, wow, this tastes just like my grandmother's meatball.
Really?
Yeah.
Really.
Oh,
good.
we'll definitely
Yeah.
check
It's
it
worth
out.
the shot. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Definitely
And if you hate it, Joseph was the one who
Blame
recommended
Joe.
it.
said it.
Yeah.
La Zingara in Bethel is
The Zingara?
Yeah, I haven't been there in so
we went a
long.
long time ago, but that was like again, like it depends who you're talking to. Where like you could tell like if somebody's like really into food, that's like another spot that like just hit on all cylinders.
Do you guys cook at home?
More now than ever, yeah.
What's your dish? Like, what do you?
We used to go out to dinner
Smash.
like 6-7 days a week.
It's hard
all
when
the
you run a
time.
business.
Yeah, we literally that's like, and now I probably go out maybe once a week.
Yeah.
So I'm lucky enough. My fiance cooks, so she's
my
she's
wife
kind
too,
of.
dude.
I keep it simple to be honest during the week, but she's been on like a big like Greek kick. So she's been like experimenting with like homemade tzatziki and like chicken and rice. It's
Did she ever come to you? She's like, "Can you put this on the menu?" And you're like, "No, I can't do that."
no, I think she would be too afraid to
To put something out
put something
there.
out there, and then if it didn't stick.
But we have done that because we do specials now at the store because that was like one thing because our business model we see it's fairly low ticket items like if somebody's just getting like a coffee and a muffin something like that like you see a lot of the same people almost every day. So how do you keep it where it becomes then all right we don't want to jam up like the kitchen and the staff and operations where we're just constantly changing stuff on them and then at the same time I don't want you to come in and see the same shit on the menu constantly where it's like all right, I'll get this again. So we do take a lot of outside suggestions on those specials and what we do because, again, we're always looking for like that next dish that, and my dad has an ongoing joke with Craig. Anytime he tries something new, it's like, hands down, this is the best thing. Best pizza I've ever had. So it's like we always look to try and throw something new in there for somebody to try that might be different, whether it's like that banh mi sandwich or something that's different.
Now it's experimenting with the
Cutlets.
Oh, cutlets, dude.
Yeah. Oh, and it's so funny. Back to like Dad saying the burger. It's so funny.
You guys do cutlets? Yeah.
Yeah. We do cutlets. They're great. And he's like, guys don't want to do fucking burgers, but cutlets. He's like, that's a cafe, huh? He's like, cutlets.
He's really hurt. He's
He was
never
like,
gonna let you live that down.
Man,
No.
There's 3 things, and Nick knows it. It's burgers, soup,
Pies.
and pies.
You don't do soup?
We do, but it's almost like
He thought we weren't doing it well enough.
we almost do. We almost don't do it now just because of how much he brings it up. I'm like, I don't even want to
He's like,
hear
your
it.
minestrone is trash.
Why does he keep talking about soup?
Yeah,
Burgers,
it's like-
soups, and Thanksgiving pies. He just doesn't. He's relentless with it.
Yeah, certain things.
Sometimes you gotta just let Dad have one.
Yeah.
God, like
always-
like
it's
when we
always
were
tough
talking
with
about
Dad.
We
doing
let him have
that.
the pies. We let him have the pies.
So I guess kind of going back to your question earlier, to you guys, like where do you see? Because now you guys are doing the podcast. Where do you see yourselves like taking this? What are your aspirations for? I mean,
first.
you guys have been around for so long.
I mean, I like this stuff. This is fun. Like my real interest is obviously like all the stuff that goes on downstairs. So there's like a couple different avenues that I'd like to expand a little bit. Like we're doing a lot of like paint protection film and ceramic coating, like tinting, wraps, stuff like that. So I think we do it very, very well. We just don't do a lot of volume with it. So I'd like to do more of that. I'd like to get involved in towing. I just think that's like an interesting thing.
Yeah.
That's really it. Like, it's tough. Like, you always think, like, do you want to do another location? I mean, what we keep doing is we just keep making this one bigger. We have another building going up, kind of like where we parked our cars. I'll show you that later. So it's like, does you hit a time where you want to like move out to a different area? We kind of pull from Long Island, Greenwich, and
New York,
Westchester, Manhattan. So I don't know if it would make sense to get another location somewhere else. It's like, it's tough to say, but I do want to do a little bit more of these other things that are related that we're already doing. And I don't know, maybe
Makes sense. Yeah, you guys
the
have such a
option.
powerhouse here.
Yeah.
Right? So
it's hard to manage too.
There's obviously stuff that we love doing restorations and like custom stuff, but like there's not really, the money's not there the way like
and you're dealing with like, I mean, people are inspecting these cars when they get them, right? Like these are people's babies, right? So they're like literally walking around and checking every detail. So you have to make sure that thing is pristine. What you guys do
too is like now that social media is out, everybody can look up what makes a good paint job, what makes a bad dent, or like so people come in and we got a guy who's restoring a car. Yeah, exactly. We have a guy who's restoring a car with us right now, and he's a genius. And we love spending time with him because
like a Yale and Harvard
he
professor.
teaches us stuff about cars all the time. Like the other day, he has a car that this gentleman is interested in, and he went to him and said, "Hey, have you ever heard of this problem before?" He's like, "Yeah, I'll tell you how to fix it right now." So that's
cool.
No way.
But going back to your question, I think personally for me, I'm obviously super passionate about the social media aspect of all this stuff and trying to grow the brand as a brand outside of the shop. My 2 goals with doing the social media thing, I guess really 3. The selfish one was trying to kind of find my voice here a little bit more. I also was a self-proclaimed actor in college. I was in plays and musicals, so this kind of scratches that itch for me a little bit. But my idea is to try to bring as much awareness to J&B as possible. So anybody who can actually bring their car here, I want them to bring their car here.
Yeah.
But the real side of that is there's some kid in Iowa who will see our shop and like our stuff and doesn't have a car, can't get the car to us. So I'd love to make him feel a little bit kind of part of the community because we have something that I don't think people get to see. You guys walked in here, you're looking at cars that you only see on Instagram and they're in front of us every day. So I want the ability to let you guys feel like you're here every day on your phone. And so if a kid wants to buy a J&B shirt in Iowa, that would be my dream. So just to get the brand out there and let people see it as much as possible. And I don't know where it goes from here. Right now, we're in the stage where Joseph, Elvis, and I are just throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks. Mm-hmm. We had a huge upturn at one point where we were getting a million views, 2 million views. And then our lowest videos were getting 20 to 30,000 views. So we were like, holy shit. And now we've heard is kind of normal. We're on this plateau where we can't hit past 7,000 views. And so we're just still figuring it out and going through the motions and getting these gears going. So I think that's I'd love to just see us as a household name to some certain extent. Like there's other companies out there that people know, like Orange County Choppers. We want to be like that. Or that's what I want us to be like.
Oh, that's cool.
I want to segue a little bit to some questions that we do kind of like with everyone. So if you were to have a 3-car garage, right, and you were going to have an everyday car, any everyday car, any weekend car, and then one car that like you didn't even want to drive, like you would just like look at it.
We were talking about
Just
this
had
yesterday.
this conversation.
Unlimited
That exact
budget.
thing. That exact thing. So unlimited budget, like obviously there's like levels
Yeah.
to everything, and like where you guys are at with
This is
cars,
fantasy
and then
land.
like what
Yeah.
I think looks nice.
Yeah,
and is
that's what I
cool.
wanna hear.
You know, like so. I part of it is nostalgic, where I remember, we always had Wranglers growing up. So and then I've had Wranglers, through my years, and there was always like that. I loved having like doing work to it, different attachments, things like that. And also there's something about just being able to feel like you could get into something and then just like drive it through a fucking brick wall.
Yeah.
If need be. And so one would definitely be some sort of Wrangler. Just like
Not to cut you off, I remember in high school, like you always had that sick black
always-
Wrangler.
Yes,
I remember I did
had
some kind of workout at the track once, and you pulled up. I think you were with Mike Osceola or something.
Sounds
and you,
about
You
right.
pulled up in that thing, and I was like, "Yo, that truck is sick." So it's funny that you say.
I
that.
just
was
like
thinking about that.
I enjoy that, and I feel like though it's actually a great business model that Jeep's got going on, because it's so personalized,
Yeah,
and they see what
modular.
people are
It's
doing,
like the Harley of cars.
and then they make it standard, and it's like genius. And then they just upcharge.
So that would be your daily driver.
Standard meaning manual.
No, like it's standard as an option.
As an option,
like they
now
like-
it's an add-on.
Yeah.
So, but my original car was manual, and
Okay.
I love that.
What was your original one? Oh, the Jeep.
The Jeep.
So that was your job. And then you need a
That
weekend
thing
car or
was
something
like
that you can
driving
tear
a
up.
friggin' tractor trailer though. The Jeep.
That's
It rode
that's
more
part of
like a
the
quad.
swag.
Yeah, that thing
that's
was
like
like,
that's what's cool about it. You know.
It would either be that or
Totally
like
obnoxious.
an old school Defender
made you a better
that was like
driver.
redone. Those things.
Okay.
Are,
So that
Same
was
vein.
to balance yours to go in your flow. I was gonna say like a sick Defender.
Yeah.
Or now I love I have a 4Runner and I love it.
Old school or new
I
school
love
Defender.
it. Old school.
Okay.
Old school Defender.
but like done
Yeah,
done
done
up,
up,
like
like
you see, like
yeah.
Yeah, there's some customers in Chappaqua that have. One guy has like 5.
Okay.
And they're awesome. The seats in the back face each other.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
really cool.
What was your first car?
Chevy. It was supposed to be his car. It was a Chevy Cruze. He
Okay.
built it out. It was 6-speed manual, 2-tone leather.
Oh wow.
It was awesome.
dope.
And he just like last minute didn't want it, and it was coming in, and then
I got another Jeep.
my dad or like you were like, "Do you want this?" And I was like, "Oh man, of course." I was like, "You have to learn stick." So I'm happy I did though, because
Yeah.
it taught me manual, and I loved it. Loved it.
So weekend car.
Weekend car. That's friggin'.
Yeah, I think less practical than your daily driver. Something you could take it to the track if you wanted to, or just rip it around with the wife on the weekend.
I want a 2-door S65 Mercedes.
Yeah, so I was
Gangster
like,
car.
is that
I just
school
always
gangster.
is that the one that you rip because I feel like that
That
could
can
be
be
like
your
an
weekend car.
No,
You
but
could-
that's just
like
another.
dinner,
That's just
that's like
another
going to ham.
something.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah.
That's a
So,
perfect
I
weekend
just-
car.
Wedding.
I'm gonna go off of that too, because my favorite car was the CL63, the CL65, and now it's the S Coupe.
Yeah.
It's
the
like
S
you went-
Coupe, so
you had
that's
a
kinda
gray
like-
one the other day. Oh no, sorry. There was an AMG that came to the show, that slate gray one. Did you guys see that one in the convertible?
No,
It
I
was
didn't
driving
see
around
it.
the car show. It was so gorgeous, brand new model.
Yeah,
I think
it
you'd like that,
was
so.
a black convertible top.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it was in one of the videos.
That thing was sick.
I've-
Now I
think it
remember
was-
right.
I've always been a big Benz fan.
Hell yeah.
I know it's always like Benz, BMW, and I'm sure obviously there are arguments on both ends, but the interior of Benz, I'm just like,
Yeah.
you feel
Next
like you're in
level.
like a living room. That S class, CL class, like those are.
And
I wish they brought the CL back, but it is the S Coupe now. So
As a third car though, I would probably have some sort of. It's tough because it always changes again. Like I was a big in high school, I wanted nothing more than a Jeep SRT8. That was like my
Really?
dream car. My dad shut it down once. Like I had it, and the dealer, the salesman was like, "Wow, it's really cool that you trust him with this engine." My dad's like, "He's like, what do you mean?" And he's like, "There's a 420 Hemi in this." And I was like, oh, fuck. And
You
then,
idiot.
Yeah. And then,
Like when you went to the game store to buy GTA and
and
then
then
There's nudity.
after that, yeah.
maybe Robin Hooker. You're not getting this fucking game.
Like, dude, shut up, man.
Really?
And then I ended up, he was like, no. He's like, unless you could put a governor on that thing, he's like, you're not getting it. And then I ended up buying used CLK 500 from my barber that had 308 horsepower, which in retrospect was no better than me, and I would have been better in the Jeep.
Yeah.
But I would have some sort of SUV.
You'd go another SUV.
I would go another SUV. Well, the Wrangler is not
For
like,
your third car?
for my
third,
The third car is
I would-
supposed to be
Third
like
one's supposed to be like insane.
museum piece.
Yeah,
Like
a
$1 million
museum piece.
car, yeah. Don't
am
do
I
it.
gonna drive it though?
You don't have
Am I
to.
gonna
Well,
drive
that's
it?
the point.
Am I just gonna look at it?
That's
Tell
the
her
point.
when you have it. You know?
I don't know which Ferrari, but it's a Ferrari for me.
Yeah.
I love Ferrari.
That's what I wanted to hear.
40. Yeah.
I'm taking the SUV away
I
from
don't know
you.
why. After seeing
Can it
that,
be a
was it
Lamborghini
combo?
SUV? Does that make it better?
The Roma?
Sure.
Oh, the Roma that we just passed, that red one,
Yeah.
that thing was sick.
All right, fine, I'll take it.
That's it, you're
So-
going Ferrari? Final answer? All right.
So
Aston Martin.
one of the last things we like to do with our guests, and
I
we
feel like
didn't
they'll be good at this. I don't know why. I have a
Yeah.
feeling. Probably because I know
we
them
didn't
from high
prompt you
school.
on this. I usually do. I usually don't, and I always say I should prompt it. So we got that monitor over there. You guys are gonna have a chance to try to beat my fastest lap in a game of Mario Kart. So there's a show that we really like called Top Gear, and they have all their guests do a lap around the test track and see who gets the fastest time. So
we don't
you're
have
gonna get a
test track,
chance.
but we have a Nintendo
A
Switch.
Nintendo Switch.
One of my buddies brought his 3-year-old son in recently, and he had
play?
a Nintendo game or some sort of iPad game. It was a racing car game. He
How'd you
let me
do?
play it.
Played?
He let me play it, and I
nice. You're
came in
ready.
second.
You're ready.
All right, well let's
Wow.
see.
Brag.
So
If he beats you, that's fucked up.
yeah, you guys. If that happens, you guys have to
Fucked
fight. Where can people find you? Tell us about websites, social media. How can people find you guys?
Boboscafe.net website, and the Instagram's Bobos_cafe.
yeah.
Net.
Yeah, not net.
Net.
Yeah, it's stuck. I was like, this is cool. We've heard in the beginning too. I was like, keep it.
Yeah.
Boboscafe.net.
Fuck it.
I get nervous on .net, .gov.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. No, it works. It works.
And what are you guys personals? Do you share personal Instagrams or mostly just
Yeah, mine's just Craig Bernardi, but I don't really.
Just
At
don't
this
have
point,
mine.
we just like use the Bobos.
cool?
Yeah.
Just go to Bobo's.
Instagram for
And where are your different locations so people know where they can go?
Route 6 Mayapack, Somers, Ridgefield, Connecticut, Chappaqua, and Purchase.
Okay.
Where's the one to purchase?
It's inside. So we did that a couple months ago. It's a little bit different of a vibe. We're inside of a business park, inside of a medical building, and we took over a.
One right off like 120.
It's right off 287.
Okay. What exit is it?
11. Yeah, right by where like I think it was that IBM building over there.
Is it open to the public though?
Yeah, it is. It's a Monday through Friday. So again, different concept. We had like this small little space that we were like, it kind of gets back to that whole optimization thing. We're like, how can we, make it flow and be efficient with less people? So it really was like a test spot for us, but it's been doing well. So
Great. Well, I can't thank you guys enough. This was awesome.
Yeah.
so
Let's
it's
rip
cool.
the track. Let's check it
All
out.
right, let's go.
So this was another episode of the J&B Body Works podcast. Thank you for joining us. A couple little updates. The merch store is still live, so please check out the merch on there. You guys can find a ton of new stuff. We have new stuff coming for the summer too, so definitely get some stuff there. We're still working on these 2 builds on YouTube. So JoJo's got a little project coming out very soon that he's going to be showing you the ins and outs of. And then we have the 993 that's coming out. Also, exciting news, J&B Body Works has a booth at the International New York Auto Show the second weekend. So that is going to be the weekend of April 5th. We have a McLaren going there, and a New York-based artist named Alex Alper is going to be drawing all over the car. So you can come out, meet us, hang out, see something really cool. I'm very excited about that. And as always,
Look
thank you
forward
guys.
to more Bobo's car shows.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, we got to talk about that how often we're going to do it. But you're going to catch us the next one.
It was a great
Bobo's.
turnout. Yeah.
It was great.
was
Thank you guys
awesome.
for having us.
Yeah, thank you for doing it.
So subscribe, follow, all that stuff. Thank you very much.
Goes, oh wow, really? He's like, you said he was a wrestler? He's like, yeah, he probably wrestled.
yeah, he's like probably.
Yeah, and the guy was just like,
But the guy was like mesmerized. Like he'll get you like.
All right, let's throw the marbles now.
You got questions, Joe, or you want me to rip them?
No, you have good questions.
All right. So if you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Luck.
Whoa. Can you explain that? That's wild.
Lucky.
That's
Lucky.
not good.
Why does that not count?
That's like
It's not a superpower, dude.
Yes, it is. Extremely lucky. I think that's in like one of the Marvels.
I don't know about that. If you
Pick
could be
another one,
friends
pick
with,
another
if
one.
you could be
Fact check
friends
that.
with any celebrity, dead or alive, who would it be?
Joe Rogan.
Wow, I like that one.
Quick answer.
If you had to pick a chore to do, which is your favorite chore?
Ooh, favorite chore? Vacuuming.
Vacuuming. That's a good one.
Yeah. Well, I got this like new, like really cool vacuum.
Dyson?
It's like, it's an oofy.
When have you ever vacuumed?
I do now.
An oofy is not you vacuuming.
No, it is. No, it's
an
like
oofy?
it's a handheld.
It's a robot that vacuums.
No.
food.
No, they make one that's a vacuum. Come over, check it out. And it's awesome.
Where do you live now?
Heritage Hills.
Dox
You do
him.
too?
Just dox him. Tell everybody where you live so they can go check up on him. What is the top thing on your bucket list right now?
Top thing on my bucket list right now. I really want to go to Japan.
Yeah, it's a good one. What's the show you're watching on Netflix right now, or any of the platforms?
Rewatching Game of Thrones because Jess has never seen it.
Really? Did you do Dragons, House of Dragons?
Yeah, I don't think it's as good.
I didn't like it at all. Morning guy or night guy?
Morning.
What favorite pizza topping?
Garlic.
Wow. What is your favorite cookie?
Oatmeal raisin.
Damn, this man knows his answers. All right, let's
guys
say
decisive,
Did you
man.
guys talk before this?
Yeah, let's see what we got here.
That was like pretty good. That was like
that
a
was
lot
pretty good.
better.
38.6 is his
38.
fastest time. So you got to beat your brother. That's
All
it.
right.
All right, put that mic close to you.
See, but like before I was like this, so I didn't practice
You're good. Do whatever
sitting
you need,
up.
bro. Whatever
You know,
you
so I think that's like
It's not an acoustic environment.
That's
A sore
something
throat for a
to-
week and a
Not
half.
gonna lie, I thought I did a lot better.
that's something to be said.
It's all right, bro. That's what they all say. A it up and then A it up.
There was a couple times I hit grass that I should have used the.
It happens, dude. Don't worry about it.
Now the controller's all clammy.
All right. 3 favorite movies.
Oh, wow, that's a good one.
Yeah. I gotta break it into category. Well, dude, you jammed me up, bro. With fucking questions, dude. Dumb and Dumber.
Ooh, really good.
You could use mine. I said it the other day. Patriot.
Oh, that's a good. Patriots phenomenal.
I've never seen that.
You never seen the Patriot? with
No.
Mel
Oh,
It's
Gibson?
dude,
like
Mel
that?
Gibson.
Oh, dude, it's great.
Yeah, you guys are throwing me off these questions. This is
That's the point.
This is nonsense.
This is last mushroom.
The Patriot. No. You know what? I'm recap. I'm doing Dumb
start
and
over.
Dumber. I'm doing Liar Liar and My
you have-
Cousin Vinny.
You have 2 more laps, so don't worry about
Yeah.
it. You'll
There's a
figure this
difference
out.
between getting your ass kicked and then being fooled with trickery.
Which, if
Next, we're to the bus.
same question for you. If you had to be friends with any celebrity, dead or alive, what would you do?
All right, well, I'm not going to use Joe Rogan. Leonardo DiCaprio.
Favorite rapper.
Favorite rapper.
I feel like I could answer for you.
Can you? Who'd you say?
Lil Wayne.
Yeah, he's right.
Yeah.
He's right.
That's a good one. I like that one. What's your favorite vacation spot?
Favorite vacation spot. Aruba.
That's another really good one. You a video game guy?
No.
Obviously not.
Yeah.
Favorite pizzeria.
That's tough for me. I have celiac, so I'm gluten free.
Wrong guy.
Yeah.
Wrong guy. Favorite candy bar?
Baby Ruth.
Okay.
I'm a Snickers guy myself.
What's
but
your coffee order?
Iced Americano.
breakfast order?
No milk. Breakfast order. Bacon, egg, and cheese.
There you go. Salt, pepper, ketchup.
Fuck.
Oh, he beat you with 37.
I wasn't
Wow,
even
you got
trying,
fucked.
What?
I wasn't even trying.
done,
Last
guys.
lap. It was that last lap.
Wow.
Thank you guys for coming. This was awesome.
Oh, this was great.
I can't believe you fucking won. That was terrible.
neither.
Yeah, no,
You
that
started
was
not bad.
by 2 seconds. You know how long 2 seconds is?
It was 1
2
second.
seconds is a long
No,
time.
you had